are Cal and Mel building Marram, our floating dream home. Hope you enjoy our look at our life of building a catamaran.
We've also been preparing the starboard hull. As you can see, she's in her camouflage or camo look down the side. So this now will be the last sand off of this side, hopefully, unless Mel spots another little mark or something. But we'll now give that a sand with a 240 grit, and that'll be ready for top coat. Coming up quite smooth once we actually sand it. It's actually coming up quite nice. Oh, it's very, very flat. It'd want to be.
Only a little bit.
Oh yeah, you're not the one hanging off this. What am I doing? I'm doomsday prepping. I've decided to become a doomsday prepper. Doomsday prepper.
We're going to our cave soon.
Alright?
We're going to our cave soon.
Yeah, we're going to go get in our cave soon, which is called a boat. Now I'm just getting it ready for top coat on the hulls. We're just doing a little bit of sanding and polishing here first. That's better.
What do you need to polish?
Well, because when I join the two colours, I don't want to have a bit that needs polishing because it won't polish properly. You know, like I could polish the two colours out, so I'm just fixing up a couple of little bits that were a bit rough here. So they still need a bit more polish before I put the pinstripe on, yeah? Or not pin line, colour change line.
And nearly finished.
I'm almost there, yeah.
And that's the last bit.
Well, this is the last bit of taping, I think, besides the bit that we've painted down the front, because you made a mistake.
Right.
So much taping to do.
A bit more.
Wish we could have dipped the whole boat. Just pick it up and put it in a big bath of paint like we used to do in the car industry. That would make it easier. But alas, if you don't have that, I've got to go around and wash all this. It's got
shit in it.
Yeah.
Once we've finished taping up to the pin line, the fun really begins. It's time to fire up the vacuum, clear every bit of dust, and wipe the whole surface down with Prepsol. Getting ready for the first top coat.
There's weeds going everywhere. I'm going to work out where they are.
I don't think I can do it anymore. I'm getting busy.
What?
I'm getting busy.
Okay, well then don't do more. I call these Mel's Kinder Surprises. You know the Kinder Surprise, the thing that pops out, you don't know what it is? There you go, that's a Mel. That's a Mel Kinder Surprise. She loves to go around with a filler and fill holes. And then they're a surprise to me when I find them. Alright, so the weather's finally turned to the point where we can start to finish up our painting. As you know, before winter this year we got all the top coats done and all the decks done, but we couldn't get the sides of the hulls and underneath the bridge deck done because we just ran out of weather, or the weather window. What we're going to do is today we're going to roller on the first coat of top coat for the outside of the boat and the hulls. I've had success before with rollers, and I've had some bad or unsuccessful shots with rollers. But I figure that if we do it, if we roller on the first coat, we've got to do a minimum of 2 coats and a sand in between. So the worst is we might have to sand a little bit more. There's quite a number of different ideas on the right rollers to use. The Norglass, which is the paints we're using, they recommend that we use a mohair roller for 4 to 5 nap. That gives us your best finish for a gloss paint. And then there's other people that will tell you that to use a foam type roller. So we're going to give them both a go. So we've got a mohair roller, and we've also got a disposable type foam roller, which is a 4 nap. This one's actually a 5 nap, and this is a 4 nap. Both of them have got chemical resistant cores, so they shouldn't fall apart, but it'll be interesting to find out which one actually gives us the best finish for trying to roller on a gloss top coat. See how we go.
It's not. I don't know I can do it. But anyway, it's the first coat. I don't do it. There's just lines everywhere. It's lines everywhere. It might dry it out.
Alright, so wind the clock forward about 10 hours of non-stop rolling. We've got the first coat done, and we've done the whole, both hulls and the underneath the bridge deck, so quite a fair bit to paint in one shot, but anyway, it's done. With the rolling side of it, we had some success and some not so good. It's a bit patchy. You know, you get areas that come up really good, and then all of a sudden you get an area that doesn't come up so good, and I'm not quite sure why, because we're doing exactly the same sort of process. It's just that just seems to be slightly different every now and then. Could be technique, I'm not sure, but you know, we seem to follow, or tried to follow, what everybody sort of has recommended. But for me, I'll be giving this a light sand off, which we had to do anyway, and we'll give her a light sand, and then she'll get a spray over the top of it. If I could get it consistent, I'd probably roll it, but I just can't seem to get there with the consistency. So as you can see, it's come up right a tweet, slightly different in colour. We decided to go for a reef blue. I did get told one time by an old shipmate that there's only two colours you paint a boat, and one's white and one's black, and you'd be an idiot to paint black. But anyway, we thought we'd give it a little bit of our own touch with the colour. We're quite happy with the colour. You kind of might notice that we've got one, the port sugar scoop at the back there has got the reef blue coming around the back, and over here on the starboard it doesn't have. Given this was just the first coat, we weren't quite sure which looked better, so a bit hard to tell when you without actually putting paint on it. So we put some paint on that one, and we didn't on this one. In actual fact, we've decided that this looks a little bit better. Having it all white up the back seems to, in our mind, looks a little bit better, so we'll do it with that instead. That needed to be sanded off anyway, and there's a couple of little repairs that I found when we painted it, which you always seem to do, so I'll fix that up. One thing we did find was quite good was the tape that we used for doing the colour change, or the pin line. As you can see here, it's extremely sharp line and no bleed through on the tape at all. The only spot I got any sort of bleed through was where I didn't stick it down properly, but I'm actually really impressed with that tape, and then it's come up with such a nice line. The tape that we used, is it's a 3M product. It's called a precision masking tape. I hadn't heard of it before. It was a bit tricky to find, but I found it eventually on Amazon. Geez, I tell you what, it does a great job relative to not bleeding out and giving you a really sharp, straight line. As I said, the only spot that I got bad was where I made a mistake and didn't get the tape to stick down properly, but we can touch that up. But you can see there, it's a really good sharp line, quite impressive. Anyway, that's where we got for the first top coat. All right, so I'll sort of give you a little bit of an update and a walk around. This is round 3 of sanding and getting ready for the final top coat, which will be a spray. You can see here that we've left the bridge deck, or we've coated the bridge deck with a roller. We're quite happy with that, to use just a roller on the underneath the bridge deck. Not too many people see that, so if you come down here you'll see where we've done the transition, or we will do the transition. So the front of the bridge deck's all been rolled now, and this will be our transition point. So we'll sand that back a little bit, and then when we spray it, we'll mask this area up, and just have a fine line down there, which we can buff out a little bit later. You can see here that she's all been sanded to death again. So you can see she's all sanded up, ready to go. We're just now waiting on the weather. We've got to wait for the weather window to paint. This paint, although quite good, is a bit of a pain in the arse relative to humidity. You can see here that the Spirited 480 has had some paint put on it, so that's coming along quite nice now. I'll just take you up to the top so you can see what we've been doing. We've had to mask the whole thing up, and in actual fact we've got to mask this whole unit up as well. This whole boat's got to be masked up. So I'll just take the boots off. So now we've got the whole boat, as you can see. Everything is covered up, ready for spraying. So it should be sprayed within the next few days if we get the right weather window. We just got to wait to make sure we got the, as I said, this paint is quite delicate with humidity. If you don't get the humidity wrong, it doesn't get a shine, or it sometimes gasses off. But as you can see there, she's all masked up and ready to go. And as I said, the 480 is looking pretty good. Nice colour scheme on that one. It's a sort of a pretty modern sort of colour. There's Mel hiding over there. Doesn't like to get on the camera, so she's over there hiding with BJ.
Yeah, we're hiding. Yeah, watching you.
There you go. So round 3 of sanding is finished, and as you can see, we've covered up the underneath the bridge deck here. It's all been taped up, sealed up, ready for spraying of the hulls. The hulls have all been washed down. We just use a soapy solution for the first pass, and then we'll give it a wash down with Prepasol later on. But she's come up quite alright. It's as flat as it's going to be. We're now, as I've said before, we're just waiting on the weather window. She's all ready to go. So as soon as we get a right humidity, which has got to be below 60, we'll give her a paint. You can see here we've just finished washing her down, so she's drying off quite nicely now, although it's very humid here. It's about 85, 90 at the moment, so it's actually quite sticky, but all set, ready to go for the big day of getting the final. And it will be the final, I can guarantee you that. I'm not doing this again, not rubbing this thing back again, it's too much. This will be the final coat.
Once we've given it a full cut and polish, we'll post another video with the final reveal. With this stage done and dusted, we can finally move on to installing the windows and doors. Stick around, catch you in the next video. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this insight to building a catamaran.